part of my role at Miyagi is to absolutely bring those skills to that's why I call it self-leadership, self-discovery, self-leadership. And I mean, the content that we teach people at Miyagi is not, this is exactly what you need to do and follow this very strict. It's nothing like that. It's, here's the methods, the tools. It's like a tool. Here's a tool, like, let's talk the habit loop. Here's the habit loop. This is how you apply this to your life. And then people then make it work for them.
Welcome to the Eat, Live and Move podcast by Miyagi, a space where we bring you the latest science-backed conversations, expert insights, and practical tips relating to all things health and wellness. Hello, I'm Dr. Gina Cleo, your habit change expert.
And I'm Kate Krieg, your very own transformation coach, supporting you to transform your mindset and your whole of life from the inside out.
I am so excited for today's episode. You guys get to meet my very good friend and colleague, Kate Krieg. Kate and I have been friends for how many years now, Kate?
Oh, that's such a good question. I feel like it was about 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And we've been work wives. We have been amazing friends.
For life.
Yes, we live really close. We live 12 minutes now from each other when you moved interstate to the glorious Gold Coast.
Yes.
And now we both work with Miyagi. And I'm so excited to introduce you to the listeners and to the world of all things Miyagi, because you have been the missing ingredient and just what we need in this business and in these programs. So to explain a little bit more, Kate is the Chief Transformational Officer. Kate, I'm going to let you do your background, but basically how I see Kate is I can give people the science and be like, hey, this is what research is saying we should do. And Kate comes in with all the practical, these are all the little steps, these are the hurdles that you might encounter, this is what might happen or what you might want to do if those hurdles do come about. She's like the practical, nitty-gritty person.
Oh, I love that. I think it's important to be like a practical, nitty-gritty person, tailoring towards each person. Like, that's what I really, truly care about is, and I can relate so deeply to what people go through on their journey. And I know we're going to be talking about that a little bit more, but as somebody who's had their own significant transformation internally and externally, I feel like, knowledge is one thing, but integrating that knowledge into your life is where the power's at.
Yes, which is why I'm so excited to talk about your story. Now, Ross is away this week, so we've got the lovely Kate and myself on this week's episode. We're going to mix it up though. Some weeks it'll be Kate and Ross, some weeks it'll be Ross and I, some weeks it'll be, all different mixtures of the three of us, and then there'll be dietitians that come along. So, but the world's our oyster, really. But Kate, I reckon let's get started with your story. So you mentioned that you had a transformation, both internally and externally. Can you tell us more about that?
100%. I think the biggest transformation that most people love knowing about, because I think it's something as a society we're so hyper fixated on, and unfortunately I would say, that is that I lost a lot of weight. And I lost 30 kilos and I've kept that off. And I'm celebrating a bit over a decade now of being able to maintain that weight loss. And I think the thing that I wanted to do was every year I'd be like, this is a year I'm going to lose 10 kilos. Back then, that's kind of what I was thinking I would be able to achieve. And it ended up being 30. And every year I would start my weight loss journey and inevitably I would fall off the wagon and everything became too hard because I was too stressed and too busy. I was fulfilling an executive director position and there was so many responsibilities and all the negative self-talk and all of the mindset challenges came in and I ended up just not fulfilling what my intentions were.
Wow, there is so much in that I already want to unpack. So you say that you would start every year with, this is the year that I'm going to lose 10 kilograms. What would happen then?
I'd feel really motivated, right? And I would go out and buy like new gym gear. Like that was like my own way of getting myself doing something like, okay, I'm going to get a new outfit.
It makes you feel productive. You're like, exactly. I'm pretty much halfway through a workout when I bought new activewear.
I've got new shoes. I've got new clothes. Okay, I'm good. And inevitably, I always found that the way I started was what I struggled with because I would start basically overhauling my life. And I would start coming in really hot, like, okay, I'm going to start doing these runs. And like, I'm not a runner. I never have been a runner. I'm still not a runner. But I would think that I had to do something as drastic as running in order to do something as quote unquote drastic as weight loss, you know? And so I started with a really drastic mindset, and I would always stop doing those drastic steps because I couldn't fit it in sustainably to my everyday existence. Like I said, I was a busy executive working long hours and very stressed. And the idea of maintaining something like that felt impossible. And so inevitably I would just recruit myself back to the lounge and drink wine and eat cheese.
Are you naturally an all or nothing thinker?
I had always been, and I'm using past tense, I had always been an all or nothing thinker. And that is a distortion that I work with. Most of my clients have this all or nothing mentality or this all or nothing cognitive distortion. They think they're like either succeeding or failing. They've got to go in really hard or not at all. And, you know, I've really tried to dial that down significantly over the past decade. And it's still a work in progress. I mean, honestly, I just said to a client, I just got off the phone, as you know, with a client, and I said, I feel like I'll continuously learn and grow every single day until the day I die. Like, it's all a work in progress. As my sister says, we're polishing a diamond. And, you know, so I'm constantly trying to dial down distortions that are getting in my way. And that absolutely was one of them.
Yeah. Now, you just said that you've just seen a client, so you're a mindset coach. Is that what you say, like outside of the space, or transformational coach?
Yeah. Well, my tagline is Kate the Transformation Coach, and I really focus on mindset and self-leadership in many ways. And so that lends itself. Often, my clients are busy executives who are stressed, burned out, wanting to help improve their life and their health overall and their wellness. And they're struggling to find the time. They're very time poor. They've got a lot of competing priorities. They're often mums. They've got really hectic schedules, and yet they want to know how to be and experience a better life and achieve their goals. So mindset, leadership, self-leadership, transformation overall, that's absolutely my jam.
I'm seeing a lot of synergies between where you were during the time that you were going through your own transformation. You know, you said you're in this corporate role and you were giving yourself all these excuses and you felt too busy and stressed. And then you went through a transformation. So would you say that, I mean, I want to get back to your story, but would you say that your journey is what led you to want to coach others that have been through, I guess others who are in the same position or similar position to where you were?
It's funny because back when I decided that I wanted to leave, I call it corporate Australia, by the way, you know, this corporate America thing. I left corporate Australia. Back when I decided to leave corporate Australia, I did it because I wanted to add value to other people and, you know, make a significant impact in some way. And I didn't think, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and work with these people. It actually happened to be the person that I was attracting. And I was invited to different corporate presentations, and I'd do workshops and keynotes. And as a result, these were the people that were attracted to me. People that go, oh my God, I identify with this, with your story. I absolutely want to focus on improving. And so naturally, my business was created off the back of my own personal story and the relatability. And people wanted to work with me because of that. So yeah, it wasn't like a decision I made. It was... I made a decision and took a leap of faith to start my own business in this space. And then my avatar came out of nowhere, you could say. Self-nominated.
A mirror. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to your story because this is super juicy and I want to know all the details. So you were saying that you would start the year really motivated, but then, you know, you'd buy all your activewear, but then you wouldn't like take action towards the things that you'd set out for yourself. What was going on and what changed? Like, what was the point where things shifted?
I can tell you exactly. Because what I used to do is I used to search for diets or methods in order to help me achieve my goal. And so I'd be researching all the different things. I mean, some of the crazy things I did. I don't know if you've ever heard of the cabbage soup diet.
Like, oh, girl, I've done it. Yeah,
oh my God.
Long time ago.
Guilty. Yeah. Oh, that so didn't work. I can tell you that right now. And no. I think these are the things that I used to do is look for external methods in order to help me lose weight. And I remember a very distinct point where I just decided, I'm not going to do that. I need to figure out a better way. I can't keep looking externally for the things that I need. I need to figure out internally how I can achieve this in my own ways. And so you know what I'm like. I'm a lover of learning. I absolutely want to research the back out of everything. And that's when I started researching about habits and mindset and just trying to understand the best ways that I could consider how to use the research in my own life rather than trying to makeshift this diet or this exercise program in my life. I'm like, no. That's like outside in. I want to do inside out. And so it was at this point where I went, I am not going to continue to focus on what other people say I should or shouldn't do because it's not going to work for me. I don't want to eat that and I don't want to move like that. I want to do what I want because it's not working the other way. If it was, I wouldn't be in the same blooming spot. Exactly.
Yeah. How long would you say it took you to get to that point? Because most people will just try like 100 diets and then keep thinking to themselves, I'm the one who hasn't got it right. I'm the failure. I don't have enough self-control. Rather than going, hang on, it seems like the diets aren't working, which we know is the actual truth. But how long did it take you to get to that point?
It was probably a 5-year journey. And I don't think I realized that I was saying the diets don't work or the exercise programs don't work. I don't know if I ever really consciously thought that. I think it was, this isn't working and I really want to make this change. Like I'm so keen. And that's when I started the like, why am I so keen? Like why, like this is where I did all that self-discovery. Like, why is it so important to me? What if I just dropped it? What if I just never lost weight? Could I be okay with that? I went through this self-discovery, like, and what would that be like? And what is in my way? And so rather than sort of saying, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, or the diets aren't working, I'm like, well, why do I really want to do this? Is this important to me? And what's in my way?
Ooh, okay. And what was the answer? What was in your way?
I think for me, things were difficult, right? Like it was difficult to stick to things. I found it difficult to stick to the output. So,
cabbage soup is not going to be a fun time. It's really not a fun time.
It's funny. I remember my now husband, Ben, who you know very well, he came over. This was before we were together. He came over and I was making the cabbage soup diet and he tried it and he's like, oh, this is delicious. I'm like, okay, I know you're just being kind. Bless him. I'm like, it's gross. I can't even smell. I can't handle the smell.
And it's the only thing you can eat, right? It's literally like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and all your snackies are cabbage soup.
Except for a banana. Don't you forget the banana. I love that banana.
Oh, yeah, there was a banana day, but it wasn't from day one, was it?
Oh, no, it wasn't. Oh,
No.
You would be clocking those snacks, hey?
Oh, I just couldn't wait for the banana, probably. Now, we're talking about being on diets. I just want to preface, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I was going on diets when in my like late teens, early 20s, and then became a dietitian and then,
Breaks
like
my
habit
heart.
expert. So, completely different outlook on life now.
Just goes against our own inner compass, goes against our own intuition and our own awareness of what our body really craves and needs. And so that's the thing that I've realized as well. But okay, so back to the drawing board. I realized it wasn't sustainable for me to act like this. And I also realized there was things in my way. So I went into a great deal of effort to figure out what could I do that could work for me and what is in my way that I need to address. So it's such a self-reliance. It's like, oh, it's not working. Okay, well, all of that wasn't working, but I had a sense of responsibility. I changed my whole entire outlook and went, I'm not going to go from the outside in. I'm going to go from the inside out. And that involves me going digging deep. What is it, Kate? And for me, it was the stress of my job. And so rather than just being like, well, I'm too stressed, I've got, long hours, I've got a lot of responsibilities, blah, 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 insert excuses and blame and all of that kind of stuff, I went, okay, well, how do I need to get on top of that? So I moved on from this position of blame and self-doubt and all of those things. And I moved through to, well, what do I need to do?
Like solution-focused.
Solution-focused. It's always been solution-focused from that point. And it wasn't always as smooth, as you know, it's not always linear. There's lots of ups and downs. But the one thing I started with is when I get home from my corporate role, I will put on my sneakers. That was it.
Micro habits.
Honestly, Gina, you would be like, what the hell? I know, it's crazy. Like, micro habits is exactly what you teach. And I remember when we connected, I'm like, Gina, that's what I did. I got home and I put on my sneakers. And some days it was me doing that instead of walking to the fridge and grabbing cheese and drinking wine.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have any support through this, or did you do this reflection on your own? Did you speak to someone about it? Were you seeing a professional psychologist, dietitian, or was this your own journey?
This was my own journey.
Okay.
But it would be remiss of me not to add in a significant support person to that, and that was Ben, my husband.
Thank you, husband.
Thank you, husband. He was my walking partner eventually when I got out the front door, because I didn't get out the front door every day, and I didn't get out the front door for a little while. When I got home, I put on my shoes, and that became my habit. And then eventually we would walk around the block. Some days I couldn't get past my neighbour's house because I was feeling self-conscious or insecure or plagued with a few things. But each day, eventually, I ended up getting around the block and walking up a hill. And Ben was with me. Like, he joined me and for most of the walks.
As an all or nothing thinker, tell me about the struggle that you would have had, because I'm sure it was there, when all you expected of yourself was just to put your shoes on. Was there an inner dialogue like, this is not enough, this is pathetic? Like, did you have any of those sort of thoughts?
It's funny, I actually didn't. And I know I want to be able to say I did. But for me, I never moved my body, right? Like, I never, ever, ever, ever moved my body. Even walking on a flat surface, I'd be puffing. So the fact that I was putting my shoes on, it was new, it was unique. It was a step, like it was a big step.
Well, they were new shoes too.
They were new shoes, and I was wearing sneakers, and I eventually moved to activewear, and it was strange for me to do that. Did I feel there was a management of my self-talk, thinking, how long is this going to take? You know, it wasn't like this is too small. It's how long is this going to take is probably what was going on for me. And I just remember whenever I had that self-talk, I would bring myself right back to the present moment and just be like, all you need to do is just put those shoes on and get as far out the door as you can. That's it. Nothing else. Just see how you go.
That's incredible. And then you can give yourself a tick that you've done that. You increase your self-efficacy or your self-belief, and then you want to do it again the next day.
And I think what happened as well is that walk was addressing the stress that I was experiencing, the rumination of thoughts from my day, the constant thinking about what I needed to do and feeling like I was stressed and overwhelmed. And so getting out the house and doing something for myself, even if it was just to the neighbor or to the letterbox, made me feel like I was, yes, achieving something. And eventually it actually addressed the stress, the thing that was getting in my way and increasing my negative self-talk, just by moving my body. And so now I started going, oh, not only am I ticking this box and doing something for myself, which was my reward, I'm also like significantly, positively reducing my stress. And as a result, I'm starting to feel better, and therefore I want to do more. So I'm starting to like get that fulfillment.
Oh, I love that. And then did that prompt you to want to eat better as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I remember for me, food became less of the highest priority. For me, it was managing my stress through movement. That was kind of my first step. I started to think about what foods I really enjoyed and what made me feel really good in my tummy. I'll never forget that journey is, okay, I want to wake up in the morning and I don't want to feel sick. I used to wake up every morning and feel sick, and I thought that was normal. It was every morning I would wake up and I felt sick because I overate the night before and also ate foods that didn't actually nourish me and make me feel good. And so I'd wake up feeling sick, and I'll never forget my
Plus
sister.
alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, golly, yes. And my sister came around and cooked me dinner one night, and it was such a lovely meal. And I remember I felt satisfied, like very satisfied that night. But in the morning, I felt really good. And I said to Ben, oh my God, my tummy feels really good this morning. What was it? And then I traced it back. And it's like, you know, we're pleasure-seeking human beings. So I'm like, I want to do more of that because it doesn't make me feel sick. But for me, the delay between what I ate and how I feel was up to a day.
Wow. Yeah. And which it is. It can be actually 48 hours.
Well, there you go. Isn't that fascinating? So, yeah, for all of like your question around food is, yes, I wanted to eat better, but only because I really connected to how do I really feel when I eat this kind of food or when I eat that and eat that much versus when I do this. It was like a little mini test for myself.
I love this. This really sounds like it's almost like a journey of the heart. It was this very deep, self-reflective, what works for me. It's like shutting down all the external noise of this is what people on Instagram are doing, or, this is what the diets are telling me to do, or what personal trainers recommend. Or, I'm not saying that those things are necessarily bad, but they're not personalized to you. And you shut all of that out and you just went within.
100%.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking, when you say it like that, it's like, wow, yeah, that's exactly what I did. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love teaching people. And part of my role at Miyagi is to absolutely bring those skills to that's why I call it self-leadership, self-discovery, self-leadership.
Yes. Powerful.
Yeah. And I mean, the content that we teach people at Miyagi is not, this is exactly what you need to do and follow this very strict. It's nothing like that. It's, here's the methods, the tools. It's like a tool. Here's a tool, like, let's talk the habit loop. Here's the habit loop. This is how you apply this to your life. And then people then make it work for them. And that's exactly what my role really at Miyagi is to do, is to help people figure out how they can apply it to their life and overcome some of those self-limiting beliefs and behaviors that are getting in their way and self-sabotaging, looking for distortions and trying to see the patterns of behavior where you go into excuses and blame. And really, rather than externalizing everything, we start to look internally and grow from the inside out.
Yeah, which is really where the biggest transformations are made. It's from that intrinsic, like deep inside. Okay, how long would you say it took you to lose the 30 kilograms? Because you mentioned that one of your concerns was how long is this going to take? So how long did it take?
It's funny because when I started, I didn't look at the scales for a very long time. And then suddenly I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Why am I losing so much weight? Because I didn't really feel like I was doing anything. And all of a sudden my clothes are now falling off. I actually thought I was sick.
Wow, really?
How crazy is that? Yeah.
Mustn't have been going that slowly then.
It was about 2 to 2.5 years to lose 30 kilos.
That's incredible, Kate.
Yeah,
Wow.
when I reflect back on it. But as I say, because I didn't feel like my output was this grueling exercise challenges and restrictive diets, I now think that something's wrong with me because I'm losing weight.
You're like, I'm not doing the things that they tell me I need to do to lose weight, like
So
the
therefore I'm
cabbage
sick.
soup diet. Therefore, something else is wrong.
Something's wrong with me. I'm not
Amazing.
joking. I know. How funny is that? So yes, it took me about 2.5 years after I got over the fact that I was losing weight and there was nothing wrong with me.
Yes, amazing.
Because even Ben said to me, but what about all the things you're doing to help you lose weight? And I'm going like, what? Like, what am I doing? And we actually had to come up with a list it was literally all these teeny tiny things that over time I had tweaked in my life, like all these lifestyle behaviors that I've tweaked, just like simple swaps or, getting home, putting on my shoes and starting to walk, addressing some of the things that were making me be unproductive and, not move my body. I'm doing more incidental movement, like all these teeny tiny things that I did. We had to think about like, oh yeah, actually I am doing some stuff. Wow, gosh, okay. And that's why I'm like, keep focusing on the step you're in, Kate. Like, keep doing you. Like, this is a lifestyle. That's the big thing. It became a lifestyle change. I became this person.
I adore this about your story because it's so manageable and it's so achievable, and it became so much a part of your life that it formed part of your identity that you didn't even see it as you like, I have to write down the things I do because I don't even notice them anymore because they're so automatic, subconscious, they're part of my routine. And I love that it was just the little things that you did, that it wasn't this big, grueling, difficult thing. And it doesn't have to be that. And we teach this, don't we? I absolutely hate the go hard, go home mentality or the all or nothing type thinking because it doesn't work, right? If you had to go hard or go home, you'd probably still be where you were because you weren't going to go, when you tried going all hard, like cabbage soup, it didn't work. It does not work. Yeah.
No. And I think one of the things that I really leaned into is this is about a journey for me to improve the way that I feel in my life. And I have to say to you, I used to be scared of changing who I was. It used to scare me. It's this unfamiliar territory. Like, I don't want to change. I like who I am. I don't really want to change. I had a lot of that resistance to get through, right? And so I remember going, oh my gosh, like, oh wow, I've made all these changes and this has not been scary. Like, I'm actually really happy with where I am. I feel really, really good. And yet I was so afraid. Like, if you told me that I was going to be this person today, I would have been scared. Like, it would have scared me because it's so different.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
It's huge. It feels scary. And I mean, what was so scary about it? Maybe because I thought it was going to be hard or that I was going to lose a sense of self. It is completely the opposite. It's completely the opposite. I have gained so much through this process and I absolutely love. I feel like feel like fulfilling my highest potential.
Yeah, and I can see that in you. You just glow. Like when you're talking about your story, when you're helping others with their own mindset transformations, it's like, look at that woman in her power. Like, it's so beautiful to see. I so relate to the feeling of wanting to make a change but being scared of that change as well. I mean, pre-puberty, I was so skinny. My nickname was Twigs. I mean, my email address was Twigs the Party Chick. That's how much like
should
Twigs
still be that. Hey,
no. It was my identity, and I'd get bullied. Like, people would say, "I can't tell if you're walking frontwards or backwards," because I had no breasts, and I had quite a masculine, I guess, body because I had no curvature whatsoever. And I had puberty when I was 16, so I was a little bit later than a lot of my friends. And I remember hating being so skinny. I wanted to feel more feminine and have more curvature. And then when I hit puberty and all of them curves came rolling in, I was like, get it off me. I don't want to feel like this. And the thing that I was scared of is losing my identity. Like, but I'm Twigs the Party Chick. So what am I going to be now that I've got breasts and hips? And although I want breasts and hips, I don't want to lose myself in this process. And
isn't
I
that
was
absolutely
terrified.
Fascinating?
Yeah.
I mean,
it is
real
so
beliefs
crazy.
and thoughts like aligning with an identity. Like, there's so many things around that, this is when you're talking about the investment that how I light up when I'm talking to clients. Like, I got goosebumps all over because this is the bit that fulfills me and the bit where I love adding value to people's lives and helping them transform, but in a way that feels so authentic and aligned, like those two words. And that's what I feel like you are at your absolute highest potential. I mean, God, I'm so like, where are you going to be in the next freaking 6 months? Like, it's just skyrocketing. And this is like, you think about all of those worries and stuff that you had way back then and where you are today and how you're flourishing. And it's just, this is the work that you put in, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's growth, it's maturity, but it's also life experiences, mindset changes, transformation, like you said.
100%.
Kate, it's one thing to lose 30 kilograms, which is a huge step forward in life, or, a step in life, I should say. It's a whole other thing to maintain that weight loss for now a decade. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that's been like? Have you had setbacks? Did you have to shift things from a place where you were, I guess, doing things because it made you feel better to now doing things because this is who you are? Like, tell me about this journey now for you.
I haven't even thought that I'm maintaining anything, right? And I know that sounds like really confusing, but because the changes were so small and they really became an automatic part of who I am, I haven't had to spend much cognitive effort applying myself to certain things. It's mostly comes naturally. Although during that period of the maintenance period, I fell pregnant twice, and a lot of people who've had pregnancies will probably relate to putting on weight, like gaining weight naturally and going through that whole process. And I did that twice. And what was interesting is that I just slipped right back into my old habits and I slipped right back into this new identity that I became. So although I could have had setbacks, which I did, the 2 pregnancies, I slipped right back to the lifestyle habits that I'd developed over time. However, I remember during COVID and it was Easter and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like every time I saw an Easter egg, I want the biggest Easter egg. I want to eat the whole thing. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep eating these Easter eggs. And one of the things that I used to say to myself is, today is not a reflection of your future, Kate. And I used to say that because it's not that I was consistently, I didn't feel that I was going to consistently devour chocolate every single day and it was going to make up most of my nutritional intake. It was that for that moment, for whatever reason, I'm like loving these Easter eggs. But I always fall back onto connection. Like how is it making me feel? Because of the fact that we're pleasure-seeking human beings, I can take the temporary pleasure and say, oh, that's why I'm doing it, because it makes me feel, because I love eating this chocolate and I'm loving that. But how does it make me feel in my tummy? Is this actually what I'm really enjoying? And that sort of assessment constantly has kept me really, really on track.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's back to values, isn't it? Like, I love chocolate. I love chocolate.
I know.
But dark chocolate, because it has caffeine in it, keeps me up at night. And I'm really sensitive to caffeine, which is one of the reasons I can't eat too much chocolate. Or I should say, I choose not to eat too much chocolate because I value sleep so much that it's not worth being awake in the night just to like indulge in this moment. And it sounds like it's so similar to the mindsets that you have. It's like, well, this is awesome right now, but how's it going to feel in 10 minutes, in half an hour, tomorrow morning? And that's really often what changed things for you.
Absolutely. And so that level of self-awareness is what I support my clients with. I have activities that they use to assess how it's making them feel in their body. And often my clients tell me, like, I ate this, and normally I don't feel anything, but when they do the self-reflection and assess it, they're like, oh, wow, I actually felt really sick. And all I could do was bring myself to sit on the couch for an hour and like binge watch Netflix.
Yeah.
And the more they do that, the more self-awareness they get. This self-monitoring is such a valuable process. And bringing that self-awareness, like mindfulness into your life, like, how is this actually making me feel? And do I really want this? And what doesn't make me feel like that? And so all of a sudden you start to create your own diet. Well, this is what works for me. Like you can't have dark chocolate of an evening because of the sensitivities. And I'm the same. There's specific things that make me feel really good. And that's what I strive for. I want to feel good and energized so that I can be productive and bring value to myself and others. And a lot of these foods over here don't enable that.
Do you still have moments where you just fall in a pit of cheese and wine? Because although that they're not going to make you feel good long term, surely there's moments where you're tired, exhausted, stressed, sleepless, and you just want to sit and just have some cheese. Like, tell me, do you have moments like that?
I was just in Dubai last week and my sister took me to a cheese shop, like a most amazing, oh my gosh, honestly.
And look, we have nothing against cheese. We love cheese. I'm talking about the overindulgence of cheese and wine.
Well, this is my story.
I love this already.
It was honestly the most amazing cheese, and we could not decide how many cheeses to get. It was like, should we get 6? Should we get 2? Should we get, and how thick should the pieces be? Anyway, we settled on 4, and I kept saying to the lady, just a little bit bigger, please, just a little bit bigger. So we made them a little bit bigger, and we went and had the most amazing cheese platter and had wine and everything, and we absolutely loved it, and it was so good, and there was zero feelings of yuckiness in my tummy. It was just like, oh my God, love that. Did wake up feeling a bit worried, but I dreamt about the cheeses. I literally dreamt about them.
I've heard of cheese dreams. It's a
really?
thing. Yeah,
oh my God,
apparently, if you eat lots of cheese, you get cheese dreams.
Oh my! I had cheese dreams.
I've heard of this, but this is not evidence-based. This is very anecdotal. But wait, Kate, I'm talking about the moments, not when you've been intentional about going and buying cheese. I'm talking about the moments where you're hitting a point of temptation, where you're in a crossroads.
Well, that was that day. Would you agree that, like the next day I said I had cheese dreams and I need to go and get more cheese, and we ended up getting like 4 more blocks of cheese, and I devoured all of them, and I felt really sick. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that is exactly what I mean. Oh my gosh. You never told me this part.
Exactly. The follow-up was I wanted more. Like I need that cheese in my life, and it was like an absolute desperation. So we ended up getting a 10-ton more cheese and I felt really sick. And I thought, this is why
And it reminded you.
it
Okay.
reminded me. Yes.
Yeah.
But of course, like there's absolutely, like, especially PMS time and other things, there's constant overindulgence, probably nowhere near what I used to. I'm so focused on connecting to myself. And I've just developed such a self-trust. Like, I can just trust myself so much more lately that I kind of know my limits. I know my limits with alcohol. I know my limits with food. I know my limits with lots of different things. And I just can't stand the pain of what it feels like to continue to live like that I can shut it off quite well now.
Oh my gosh, I love so much of this. Kate, if you had to share one piece of wisdom from your journey with somebody, I mean, there's so much in it. There's reflection, there's awareness. I hear a lot of self-compassion. There's space to grow. Like, there's so much. What is the one piece of wisdom from your own journey that you would want to share with someone else?
Oh my gosh. You're right. There is so much. There is so much. But what it all boils down to ultimately, and this is probably frustrating for everybody, is like taking a sense of responsibility.
Yeah. I love that.
It's my responsibility to keep it small, to start small. It's my responsibility to see what's getting in my way and create workaround strategies. It's my responsibility to check in with myself. It's my responsibility to bring in that self-compassion. It's my responsibility to check my self-talk. It's my responsibility to do the work.
Damn. It's like, it's the last thing we want to hear, but it's so powerful, isn't it? I remember reading a quote and it said, your trauma's not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility.
Goosebumps.
Yep. And I read that and I was like, yep, all right. And I booked myself to therapy and I did all the hard work.
Oh my God. You've taken that to the nth degree.
Haven't I? We don't do anything in half measure though.
No. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And it's true though. It's no one's going to show up for you. Like, people will be around to support you, but you have to do the work.
And it's so easy to make excuses and to blame other things and other people and scenarios. It is easy, and we do fall into that trap. And yes, some of them can be extremely valid, but it's our responsibility to check ourselves and to realize what's going on and to approach this from a sense of responsibility.
Yes. Ooh, so good. I think we should end on that. Thank you so much for joining, KK.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's so good to be here. It's so
Isn't
nice
it?
to actually do our podcast. It's
so good. I love chatting to you. I love your raw vulnerability, your openness, in your generosity with sharing your story. So thank you. I'm sure it's been so valuable for people.
Thank you.
And I want to end with the member question of the week. It's from Elaine for me. For Dr. Gina Cleo, it said, what's your advice when trying to get back on the wagon? I'm really motivated to lose weight and be healthier this year, and things always go well for me for the first couple of weeks. Then I find I fall off the wagon and struggle to get back on track. Any tips would be great. Well, I think Kate shared some amazing tips with us, but I think the biggest thing to know is that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we fall off the wagon. Falling off the wagon is something we all do. Every single person, even the most successful people, will have setbacks. They are inevitable because life is life. My biggest tip is to don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for your birthday. Don't wait for the new year. Get back on the horse now, today, like in this moment. You don't have to write off the rest of the day. You can just do it gently and kindly and just with baby steps and have lots of self-compassion. That's what I would say to that. Anything you want to add, Kate?
Oh, no, that was just beautifully articulated. Baby steps, self-compassion. Love, love, love.
That's it. Well, that brings us to the end of this week's episode on Eat, Live and Move with Miyagi. Whatever platform you're listening to today, please hit subscribe so you don't miss out when a new episode drops. And that's all from us. Thank you again for being here, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.